Hello friends, today I will tell you about a crime thriller from 2013 called Wa Bank. Everyone has something more valuable than money, find out what it is. You forgot the old truth, the casino always wins. Richie first is a Princeton University student who has to pay for his education himself because his single father can barely make ends meet, spending the last pennies at the gaming table. Richie has to hustle and survive, so he becomes a partner in an online casino. His job is to lure players who will place bets and spin the virtual roulette wheel. Most of Richie's classmates and even professors are among the losers, which worries the university administration. The director warns Richie that if he doesn't stop recruiting people from campus, his education will be ended quickly. Richie has $17,000 left, enough to live on for a while, but not nearly enough to pay for his education. He decides to risk everything and bets all his money. The game starts well. He chooses the weakest players at the virtual poker table. But when the stakes reach the maximum, Richie is beaten by an unknown player whose tactics break all the logic of the game. Richie ends up with nothing. With the help of a programmer friend, Richie realizes he lost because of a cheater. He decides to fly to Costa Rica to find the founders of the gaming platform and inform them about the scam happening on their site. Richie sincerely believes that by seeking justice, he can get his money back. First, Richie gets to a party where all the famous players and game founders gather. There he meets Yer, who manages to get him an invite to a more exclusive event hosted by Avon Blog, one of the best gamblers and the creator of the site Richie worked on. The party is in full swing, and by some miracle Richie gets in. He brings a message for blog Ultraviolet, invisible writings only seen under special light, proving the scam on his site. Blog listens, thanks Richie for the proof, and asks his security to escort him out. It seems the conversation is over with no justice to be expected. But the next morning, Blog and his guards come for Richie at the hotel and take him to their boss on a yacht. The boss thanks Richie for not making a public scandal about the fraud and rewards him by moving him to a luxury hotel room and transferring the full amount he lost, plus a bonus. Now Richie has enough money to get his Princeton diploma, but Avon offers him a more interesting deal. The founder of the online casino offers Richie a job that pays more than Richie had ever dreamed of. Without hesitation, the student accepts, not regretting having to quit school. Richie's fortunes start to rise. Within months, he learns the gaming world inside and out, and becomes a valuable employee with a great salary. Avon meets with the Costa Rican mafia boss to arrange the gaming business. To operate in Costa Rica, they need to regularly pay tribute to the powerful locals. The stakes grow as does Blog's profit, but the mafia boss demands the payments be doubled, which annoys Avon. He fears the amount will keep increasing, and losses could exceed profits. Richie becomes Avon's right-hand man, managing casino affairs easily. Blog gives Richie an important mission: to recruit a serious player who controls more than 10% of the gaming business. Collaboration with this player will bring huge income. Richie agrees without hesitation. The deal is successful. Richie travels to take care of personal matters, but is kidnapped by two thugs, blindfolded, and driven to an unknown place. There he meets Eric Shavers, an FBI agent who tries to recruit Richie by threatening to expose his past misdeeds, including his Princeton story and illegal activities with Blog's company. In exchange for freedom, Richie has to inform on everything in Avon's company. Richie is not ready to betray his boss. Once back at the hotel, he tells Avon about the kidnapping and FBI threats. Richie meets with Shavers again, who tries to lure him to work with the FBI. But Richie prefers to stay with Blog on condition of higher percentage and bonuses. Avon refuses and sends Richie to recruit that player without concessions. Avon's philosophy is to set rules and not accept others. Richie invites the player to Avon's yacht and takes him for a ride with many Costa Rican beauties. The man lets his guard down, and Richie secretly films him. Now Richie is forced to accept the deal or risk his pregnant wife's reputation being destroyed by these tapes. Richie plans to win over Jackie for Avon. Avon rewards him with a good bonus, and Richie indulges himself without restraint. At a night party, they spend the night together, though they both know this could anger Avon, who considers Despite this, they have a night together. One of Richie's friends, whom he had placed to work with him, leaves after meeting with the FBI agent. Blog gives Richie another mission: to retrieve a suitcase full of money from a bank safe deposit box and give it to a local mafia boss. Unaware of the trap, Richie follows orders. After delivering the funds, Richie is warmly received at a nightclub, offered the best girls, but tensions rise when the locals learn the amount he brought. The mafia boss thinks there's been a mistake and promises to deliver everything to Avon. Richie tries to leave but is beaten by the locals and barely manages to stand. The next morning, Richie confronts Avon, asking if he knew about the consequences. Avon admits he expected this and reminds Richie what he owes him, sending him back to work without apology. Richie decides to give up dreams of becoming a millionaire. The job is getting dangerous. Richie decides to fly home, but at the airport, he is detained by Agent Shavers, who is not ready to release such a valuable witness. Eric offers Richie a chance to avoid Costa Rican jail if he stays and informs on Blog. Richie returns to the company, but immediately begins looking for a way out. Thanks to his programmer friend, Richie uncovers that some player accounts are empty. The casino is working like a financial pyramid, shifting money between players' accounts. But Avon finds out about Richie's attempt to escape, and to ensure compliance, he buys out Richie's father's huge debt and uses it to blackmail Richie. Richie meets his dad, who admits he understands the danger and tells Richie to save himself first. Richie builds connections locally to secure help and uses all his savings. His programmer friend discovers new proof of Blog's fraud, but is kidnapped before sharing it. Richie finds himself trapped, but still hopes. A planned meeting ends in a mafia showdown. Avon's company owes a Costa Rican crime boss. The mafia boss kneels at the pier with guards around. People from Blog's company pour hot chicken grease on him and push him into crocodile-infested water. Richie is horrified and asks Avon to stop. Avon agrees only after having to shoot at crocodiles to scare them off. The boss survives, but his authority is damaged. The programmer friend disappears. Richie no longer trusts anyone, not even who warns him Avon plans to leave Costa Rica and needs someone to stay behind with debts and obligations. Richie still makes contacts in the neighborhoods and lives on the edge. One day, the FBI forces corner him again, looking for the missing programmer. Richie doesn't know where his friend is, and was sure he escaped with the FBI help. Richie finds a flash drive hidden by the programmer and learns he uncovered that Blog was moving money from player accounts into cash. Once this evidence reaches the authorities, serious trouble will come not only for Avon. Richie hands money to a local contact, but is caught by Blog's man and taken for a ride. Now the deal Richie made with the locals is clear. Several tough guys stand up for him. Blog disappears. Police raid casinos and apartments of Avon and Richie. Richie buys off guards at the airport and escapes through a back exit, boarding a small plane where his father waits. Avon and an armed guard wait by the steps of a big luxury plane. Avon calls Richie and admits he set him up. Their planes take off from different places and land in different destinations. Avon's plane lands in Puerto Rico, under U.S. jurisdiction. There, federal agents are ready to arrest him. Richie and Rebecca fly away to a place where nothing will threaten them anymore. Richie never testifies to Agent Shavers. Instead, he gathers all evidence of Avon's illegal operations. Richie's attempt to outsmart Blog ended with Blog being the fool himself. Friends, thanks for watching. Please write your thoughts about this movie in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.